So hello and welcome to my channel. I just want to talk about the energy that's going on right now in the with Mercury being in retrograde. I feel like, and I've witnessed and experienced that there are people awakening at this time. There are people that are reawakening to their gifts, experiencing those beautiful moments where their gift is, asking them to awaken to them. I had a friend who had an experience, and it shocked them. It shocked them to experience themselves again. Not shocked, but it was just kind of like, oh, what's happening? That type of shock, right? Like, oh snap. And I also had one of those moments where I had like a reawakening moment where I met my twin. I seen my twin. And it was one of those moments where I realized, oh, this is what they talked about. This is one of those moments where I connected with my twin, and then we went back into our separation. Not intentionally or not like in a negative way, but we were led back to each other. It's like we were in the perfect time at the perfect place. And so when my friend was telling me about their experience, I just realized that, oh, it's just one of those where everyone is having a similar experience to reawaken to themselves again. So I do want to share with you some of the other things that I have not only witnessed about the twin flame journey, but also just experiences that I've witnessed other people have that I think is very significant to the collective. The collective may be experiencing things. So first, let's just talk about the twin flame journey. And for you that do not understand what the twin flame journey is, the twin flame journey is said to be two souls separated or split into two separate bodies, one holding the masculine, one holding the feminine energy. And for me, I have come to a place that keeps me just in a more sane experience when it comes to the twin flame journey, to believe that we both hold the masculine and feminine energies within our bodies, right? Well, I have noticed that for twins, they reflect each other. And you have to be very aware of it, because when you first realize something about your twin or this person that is a reflection of your soul, not the body. So many people may think that, oh, this person needs to be who I think they should be. And it's not that. It's this person is reflecting what you need to become a better version of yourself. Or this can maybe be an idea of the twin flame journey. But something that I've noticed during Mercury in retrograde when I seen them is that for a long time I just thought that, oh, like when we're in separation, like we're just living our own lives. But when I actually noticed the reflection that was going on in our lives, and it was just from knowing one detail that they told me when I seen them, and I was like, oh shit, like I was just like, oh fuck, like and at first when I came across this discovery about them, and it was something so similar, just to realize something about them, right? And oh, my cousin, I don't want to share those things about them. For one, I just feel that it's just the sacredness of being able to have been gifted to know these things about them. It's like a part of me that wants to share it, so that if they ever came across these videos, they could watch it and then just realize, like, oh, there's this part of me that wants to share it with social media or share it online, so that if they ever came across these videos, they would just see like, oh, that is like, okay, you got a point there. But anyway, I noticed something that they said about their life that is like a direct reflection of something that I'm experiencing in my life. And it's that the soul is reflecting that kind of just shows you, oh, they're my counterpart. Why I kind of feel like that's kind of sacred to share. I feel like there are other twins that are needing to be informed that information. Now, to move into talking about what I've noticed other people or other souls are experiencing, my friend was telling me about an experience that he had in his body, and it was just a presence of something. And to me, it was an experience that I've had before. You know how when you're out, right, and you may hear somebody say your name, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, somebody just said my name, and then there's nobody around. You ever experience that and just be like, I know I heard my name, right? What do you think is calling you? Are you afraid of it, right? And if you are afraid, why are you afraid? Why are you afraid, right? Dive more into that. Dive more into that. Like, why are you afraid? What scares you about something calling your name? Well, one, you've been conditioned to believe that when you have those type of experiences, that they are demonic, or they are, you know how like when you used to watch it used to be in black and white sometimes, Paranormal Activity. You know how they be watching Paranormal Activity? I feel like that's something totally different. But when you hear that like or you hear somebody saying your name and you be like, what the fuck? Like, I know I heard somebody say my name. Or you feel a presence, and you're like, I don't know if this presence is good or bad, but I feel it. You know what? Why don't you uncover that? What is happening that is keeping you from doing that? What is happening you from, being like, okay, well, if it's calling to me, you know how them grandparents used to tell you, if you hear somebody calling you, don't answer back. But if the people in your life weren't strong enough to battle, or not even battle, but if they weren't strong enough to embrace the experience of something trying to connect with them and say, okay, well, if it's calling me, then it must be aware of me. So why am I not aware of it? And if you believe that God is protecting you, or you believe that the divine is protecting you, what is there to fear? That's just how my mind thinks. People may think totally different. People may be like, oh, girl, I ain't about to... Girl, that thing was calling me, girl. And I said, hell no. I said, no, ma'am. I'm just not... Some people are like that. But if you don't answer the call, you know how they say, if God is calling you and you don't answer the call, or you answer the call or not, it's just like, you can't be no punk bitch. You can't be afraid, right? God or Jesus walked the earth for 365 days and wasn't afraid. So it's just like, should I diminish my self? Or should I diminish the protective power that I know is over me, the protective covering that is over me, right? Because your gift is also like your belief. If you believe that you're protected, your thoughts, feelings, and emotions create your reality, right? Or if you trust in God that much that you believe that you're protected, then shouldn't you be protected? I think that this is a good time also to bring up the prophetess, or there was someone who was like a preacher or something, and he got in the water with an alligator, right? And the alligator attacked the man and he drowned. I think that that's different. And I think that that's different because That's in the physical world. But when we're talking about the higher realms of consciousness or the higher realms of spirituality, then we're talking about something that's bigger than the 3D world. You got to think 3D, but there's something like 7D and above, right? If we're talking about those higher realms of consciousness and you are speaking to a being that is above, where like, well, I feel like when you reach that consciousness of being able to speak to something that's higher than you, right? Because this is clear audience. And this is what I didn't speak about in my video, but I'm speaking about it now. Clear audience is being able to hear clearly, being able to hear those messages from the divine, right? When you can hear that you have a calling, when you can hear that you're supposed to, when you can hear that you're meant to progress forward, right? You have to be able to go through the door because you are being called to serve. You're being called to shine this awareness and this light and this love upon the rest of the collective. So I seen a can earlier today. It's just like a remembrance of my aunt having this can of soup, and it was a progressive soup. And I was just like, why am I thinking about progressive? Why am I thinking about progressive? And it wasn't like it wasn't like it wasn't my insurance. It felt like it was more about my progression and spiritual conscious and awareness and my clairvoyance, being able to see. When I say clairvoyance, but clairvoyance, being able to see and being able to have that gift to connect to something that's beyond the veil. Yeah. But I wanted to have this video. I wanted to have this video being made or making it because I just realized there are things that come up during the time of Mercury being in retrograde. Everybody has their different saying of, like Mercury having her micro braids put in, or there was something my manager said about Mercury, and I just can't remember what it is right now. But there are people being called to awaken. There are people being called to reconnect with their gifts. I just remember having a conversation with my cousin, and he just like, oh wow, like you're really knowledgeable about like angel numbers and numerology. And I was just like, yeah, like I awakened in 2019, right? Or I became aware that I was starting to awaken then. I may have started to awaken before then, but that's when I consciously remember having the awareness that I was awakening, if that makes sense. I've had the moments when I was younger, and my cousin who had left, he had left this house, right? He had left this house and started his whole new life, and then I couldn't remember really knowing who he was. If I would see him today, I probably wouldn't know, but I would have some type of awareness that, oh, he looks very familiar, and be like, oh, that's my cousin, right? He left years ago, and I was just like, y'all ever talk to my cousin? And I said his name, and he called on the phone during a holiday, and we just recently reconnected with him because he went through some stuff, and he called the family or whatever. And so it was kind of like, wow, I was thinking about him so much earlier this year, and to know that he called, it was kind of like a remembrance of that time where I kept speaking about him during one holiday, but he had been gone for a couple years. Now it's been like maybe over 20 years or 15, at least 15. I know it's at least been 15 years, but I just remember him. Oh yeah, it's been 20 years. I know it's been at least 20 years, but I just remember speaking about him, and then him calling the house, like right after I spoke to him. And I want to say that the hallway light went out right before he called, which was just ironic, right? But that's when I just became aware of how conscious I was at a young age, and then getting older and just being taught to be, I wouldn't say that I was taught to be disconnected from my gift. There are things that I had to unlearn so that I could become that connected being again, to become connected with my gift again. And so now when I experience life and just notice the little nuances that, are very powerful. Just noticing that my friend was being connected with his gift, and him telling me, he was like, I want to learn. He said, I want to have the dreams again. I want to have the dreams again. And I said, you know what? What I've noticed about being awakened is you have to go through certain things to receive the good things, if that makes sense. And even for me now, when I'm just questioning myself, like, dang, like, when you are teaching yourself while also teaching another being, that is powerful. That's powerful awareness, right? When you are saying something like, wait, and then being shown, maybe I have to go through this to receive exactly what I'm wanting to receive. And that's just a powerful awareness. And it's also like, maybe I do, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm already, maybe, you know what? And I keep saying, maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that. It's about being in the now moment and just enjoying what it is now. That's why I'm making this video. I enjoy speaking about spirituality, and I've always just wanted to be in a place of being able to hear and experience what a person is saying that they may be at. Not experience, not experience it. Not like, hey, what's your experience, your experience. But what I'm saying is, and it's so crazy, my phone kind of like jumped a little bit. In Mercury being in retrograde, she brings, sometimes she brings chaos to electronics. But I feel like this time it hasn't been that. It hasn't been like the electronics haven't been that bad. It's just that I feel like she's actually been bringing some really great energy. Like, even though I have experienced some things that I would kind of say like, oh wow, that's kind of deep. Like, I'm experiencing that or experiencing this, and it's making me question this and making me question that. Things come up so that we can, reveal things to ourselves. And so it's just a very powerful experience that I feel like people are having right now. And it's, you either run or you walk. But either way, we in this moment right here. So what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And I feel like I do talk a lot. I talk a lot, y'all. I talk a lot. But I feel like it's so informative. I want people to be able to connect with what I'm saying, and not just like say like, oh, like he talking about spirituality. But if you don't understand it, if there's something that I'm saying that you don't understand, would you please in the comment section say, hey, I heard you talking about this. Can you expand my consciousness by speaking about it? Or can you speak more on this topic? And I was just talking to my friend about saying that, I was talking to another friend about just telling her, like, sometimes you got to tell people exactly how it is. And she was just saying, that's my problem. I always do that. But sometimes if you doing it to the wrong person, it's just going to reflect in that way that it's reflecting. But sometimes you need to talk to yourself like that. Sometimes you need to have them self-talks like that. Like, bitch, you already know what the fuck it is. Like, stop playing with yourself. Like, get it together. You know that nigga playing. You know that nigga playing game, running game, doing whatever. Like, and if it's making you feel some type of way, sometimes you have to do it because it's best for you. Find that inner strength for yourself, bitch. I was gonna say babe, but find that inner strength for yourself to say, hey, it's just making me feel uncomfortable, and be able to tell them, be able to say, hey, it ain't working for me because you making me feel like X, Y, and Z. So if you can't figure it out, I'm gonna figure it out because but I just wanted to express some of the things that I've noticed with Mercury being in retrograde. How I noticed that there are people that are, meant to reconnect with themselves. There are people that may be meant to reconnect with, or there may be even, always during Mercury being in retrograde, there may be that ex that, just call you back or text you back. And it's about how you respond to it, Yeah. I always try to use respond instead of react, because when you react, you just like you're reacting from a place of, feeling what you feel. But when you respond to what is being said, it just has a different impact. It has a different, motive. And you just have to be able to love where you are. And even if you feel like you've made a mistake by reaching out back to them when they reach out to you, it's up to you about how you continue to keep responding to that. How do you respond moving forward? How do you respond after they sent the text and then you responded to them? How are you moving forward after that? When your gifts are coming through, how are you responding to your gifts? Are you being able to receive them? Are you being able to love them? Are you asking for more? Are you asking the divine, why did you have that experience? Why did you feel what you felt when you felt that experience? Where were you when you felt this? If you are a twin flame, what is it reflecting for you? What is it showing? What is it showing about yourself? You know? And maybe there's just something okay, so here's something very significant about the twin flame journey that's showing up for me. I'm just remembering this twin flame coach. His name is Kurt, and he speaks about how, when you have your twin flame, you have them there. They're just there, right? And so when you experience your twin and you just realize who they truly are, and even if they don't, realize it in that moment like you realize it, that may be the gift, and maybe you're meant to receive that. If you're able to receive that, that just may be your superpower for right now, and you have to be able to embrace where they are, while also being able to heal what it is that needs to be healed. Yeah. Whatever you're experiencing, just allow it to be as it is. And I feel like I want to say revelations. There are experiences that are coming to me as I'm like speaking about it, because it's something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that I'm very passionate on speaking about, because I've experienced what it means to be in alignment, what it means to be a twin flame, what it means to be clairaudient, clairsentient, claircognizant, clairvoyant. I've experienced what it means to be these things. I've experienced what it means to be in alignment. So with that being said, try not to turn it off. Try not to turn it off when you're receiving those numbers. Why don't you search what those numbers mean? Why don't you ask questions about what it means to feel certain things? Not just your friends, but ask the divine. If that's your source of power, why wouldn't you ask them? Why do you chase those relationships that make you feel half loved? Why do you chase those people that make you feel like you have to try so much more to be loved? Why aren't you just okay with loving yourself? What is God trying to show me? What is my twin trying to show me? What is the divine trying to show me? It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to not know the next step, because guess what? We're meant to be in the present moment. Guess what? I was gonna say guess what? And guess what? And guess what? But it's about being in this present moment. It's about being in this moment right here, right now. And whatever that may look like for you, that's for you. Whatever it may look like for me, that's for me. Whatever it may look like for your brother, your sister, your cousin, your mom, your daddy, all of them, it's for them, you know? And if you're going through something that's difficult, you know, you may be wondering what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes or the next 30 minutes or tomorrow or whatever. But right now, what is it for you? What are you feeling right now? And discover what that means for you. Discover how you can love yourself more in the moments where you know you need it most. Discover how you can love others while also experiencing what you experience. That is a superpower. Because, you know, girl, you know, I'll say girl, but, you know, everyone, it's easy to say that it's this and to say that it's that, but you don't know until you experience it. So allow yourself to experience. And maybe, you know, just asking other people, it's going to maybe scrape the surface, but being able to experience it is a whole different ball game, baby. I want to share this with you all, and then we can probably, you know, allow the video to end on a great note. I heard the divine said, they said something, right? And it just threw me off because I was just like, what was I even thinking about, right? Okay, yes, I remember. I'm cleaning up for Thanksgiving and I need to get back to it. But on a bigger note, I'm also listening to Summer Walker. What was I actually have forgotten what I was going to talk about. Whatever Mercury in retrograde is showing you, they're telling me to hold on. Baby, I done had that Casamigos saying, bitch, what's up? Bitch, what's up? What's up, bitch? You thought you was gonna end that video, bitch? I ain't ready to end the video. But, you know, I feel like I need to finish cleaning up the house and to prepare for Thanksgiving, girl. I'm cooking the food. The host. But it's gonna be good. If you haven't watched my video titled I Love You, It's Okay to Say, then watch that video. That video is obviously congruent with this video because I forgot to speak about clairaudient, which is a big gift that most awakened beings have experienced. But if you're being called to experience your gifts again, it's okay to allow it to be experienced for a while. Like, there's going to be questions. And when I say experience for a while, I think that's just more of the like you just have to allow it to be experienced for a while. You have to allow these gifts, like, for you to, like, when I say warm up to you receiving it, you just have to be able to be back in the flow of, like, oh, this is my gift. This isn't something that I should be afraid of. If you're experiencing your gifts, if you're experiencing the consistent angel numbers or the feelings like the tinglies in your body or the warmth. When I first awakened, I remember just feeling the warmth, the warm sensations, or when I would feel certain things and it would just be and I would just say impactful moment, like a moment of just like realizing something impactful or something like that. Just the awareness that was going on in my body, like just feeling that warmness. Like, oh, if something make you feel some type of way, like a bitch make you feel some type of way, you ready to square whatever. Not for real. No, not that. You know, I'm just speaking like as in like what if, right? But, you know, just that warmthness that you feel in your body, or when someone, you know, says something that just makes you feel something, and you feel like, you know, just what you're feeling in your body. Try not to run from it. When you hear those, when you have your first clairaudient awareness of hearing something, being like, oh, you know, like, that's it. I felt it, or I experienced it, you know. It may feel like that. Like, I know for me, it felt like that, and I just was like, oh my God, like, I just heard my first clairaudient word, and I was like, you know, you try to be serious, because you just like, oh, I just heard my first clairaudient, like, sentence or word, like, when it becomes very vibrant. And I'll make a video on these gifts and how to fine tune them, how to, you know, experience them in a more brighter light. Also, yeah. If you're experiencing the twin flame journey, what I can say is that when you just truly focus on yourself more than just focusing on them, you're going to have more like resonance, especially as whatever polarity you experience more, right? Like, if you experience yourself as the divine feminine, or you identify with being the divine feminine, you're going to have those moments where your brain is like going, like, you know, consistently thinking about your masculine. But if you are, you know, in your work and in your purpose, if you're purpose driven, right, regardless of what that looks like, that can just truly help kind of I wouldn't even say, because you don't as the divine feminine, you don't ever want to like decrease the amount of times that you think about them, because you don't think about them in a hateful way. And even if you're having negative thoughts about your twin, just ask yourself, why am I having those thoughts? What is it that I haven't looked at within myself that I'm, you know, why am I feeling those things? What is the reason that I'm feeling those things? You know, uncover more about yourself. I had a really great experience with seeing my twin, because I realized that the feelings that I had towards not seeing them in years, it kind of just was not there. It was just more or less like, oh, I didn't expect that today. It was a really great experience for that reason. It brought up the realization that in this experience of them and myself, or my twin and myself, my twin and I, it wasn't any malice. It wasn't any negativity, especially on my part. And I think that the difficult part of it was, and I feel like I should talk about this because there may be other twins feeling that, the difficult part, which it wasn't really difficult, it was just kind of like a awareness afterward, because we are both healing in our own experiences, right? It was just realizing the things afterward, just like the thoughts of like how we're in separation, even though I'm hearing myself say certain things. It was like, with separation, being in twin flame separation, it was just like, man, nigga, it's been a couple years. Why we ain't talk in this amount of time afterwards? You know, but in that moment of experiencing him, I'm like, dang, I ain't think about none of that. Why I ain't think about that when I could have just asked him? But it wasn't about that. It wasn't about bringing up the past things, because we were in the moment. He seen me. He spoke to me, and it was just like, where you been at? You know, afterwards. But then it was just like, oh my goodness, there he go. Like, I haven't spoke to him in so long. It just was a great moment, you know? It was also like afterwards, it was just kind of like, why isn't it a moment of us, like, you just immediately just being just in a place of hanging out again. So we're just like back into separation. I understand why. I know why. But I'm not gonna I don't feel I feel like I've revealed it to myself, but I've also like, you know, I understand why. I understand why, but I also just have questions of clarity of making sure that it is for those reasons too. But as the divine feminine, right, we just have a intuitive awareness and an intuitive connection to the divine that just allows us to be secure in what we are aware of, right? So yeah, it's been one of those things where I'm just like, okay, we're in a good place. I really am grateful to be able to see him and for him, you know, to validate that inner, I guess, that inner worry of whether we're good and whether we're going to be able to, you know, communicate even as friends. And it was that. And that was very loving. That was very loving for me. And it's very loving of myself because I noticed that, like, I would have probably responded this in the same way, like, oh my god, like I seen him. And not to say that we went into separation on negative terms, but it just, you know, it wasn't how I expected. It wasn't how I expected. And, you know, just if I wanted to shine light on any part of the twin flame journey, it was just to say that they don't come when it's expected, but when it happens, you're just joyful that, like, oh, I'm getting to see them again, like I'm getting to experience them again. And that's the loving part of it. And it's also like the respect for, like, being able to see them is like the respect for where they are and the respect for where you are, and just being able to connect on that energy. So yeah, I think that I should be ready to end this video because I could just keep going on and on about Mercury being in retrograde and how, like, Mercury in retrograde and the full moon are like, child, oh, she be definitely going through it then. Not going through it, but you know, yeah, I've gotten accustomed to the energies that happen, especially like Mercury being in retrograde and the full moon. I would say, you know, comfortable is one word, but just like aware of what happens during those those energetic experiences is another thing, right? So yeah, I've gotten into a really great place with being able to do that. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. I don't feel like I should end it, but I feel like I'm just a person that can go on and on and on about the spiritual experiences I've had and how to help people become in alignment. So I just feel like to keep people engaged, to keep people from not, like, you know, being just too tired of the video, I'm going to just say that, you know, happy holidays. I hope that you receive something from my video. I hope that you can post your questions in the comment section, and that'll just give me more to talk about. It'll give me more to, like, decipher. I can hear that some people are just wanting to know more about the twin flame journey, which I used to talk about so much, and I just got to a place of where I was just like, are people even interested in that type of content? So I feel like I will talk about it more. I will dissect certain parts of the journey because I am learning more as I'm going along in this journey. Yeah. And I'll decipher more about what it means to be separated from your twin, how it feels, what it means. Yeah. And with that being said, I love you so much. I hear the divine saying, like, we don't want you to end the video, but I have more cleaning to do. I have more things to do in the house to prepare for Thanksgiving. So with that being said, I love you so much. And if I'm gonna come back, I'll come back later on and record some more. But until then, toodaloo. I love you.